Hey everyone, welcome back to BookShortz, the place where we bring powerful books to life in just a few minutes. Today, we're diving into something truly special. Imagine being able to hear your mother's entire life story, her childhood, dreams, her first love, her greatest lessons, and the advice she hopes you carry with you forever. That's what Mom's Story by Korie Herold is all about. This book isn't just a journal, it's a heartfelt journey across generations, filled with memories, wisdom, and legacy. Whether you're a mom, a son, a daughter, or someone who just wants to preserve your family's history, this story will move you. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the most inspiring book summaries online. At BookShortz, we turn pages into powerful insights. Now let's explore the beautiful and emotional legacy of Mom's Story by Korie Herold. Have you ever wished you could sit down with your mother and hear her whole life story? Not just the parts you've heard in bits and pieces at family dinners or holidays, but everything. Her childhood dreams, the challenges she faced as a young woman, the way she fell in love, the lessons she learned in silence, and the values she hopes to pass down. What if there were a way to bottle all of that wisdom, emotion, and history into one timeless keepsake? This is exactly what Korie Herold's Mom's Story sets out to do. But this isn't just a journal. It's a living, breathing memoir guided by heartfelt prompts that draw out the most intimate and powerful reflections from a mother's life. And it's not just for mothers. It's for daughters and sons who want to know their mom beyond the role she plays in their life. It's for generations to come who will hold her words like treasure. This book isn't read. It's experienced. And in this summary, we're going to walk you through that journey as if your own mother was narrating it to you herself. The beginning of a life mom's story begins at the very beginning. The book opens with prompts that invite the mother to reflect on her earliest memories. From her childhood home to the neighborhood she grew up in, every question is an invitation to step back into time. What did the kitchen smell like? What songs played on the radio? Who were her childhood heroes? These aren't just facts, they're sensory memories. They paint a vivid picture of a world that once was, and in doing so, they help children and grandchildren understand the foundation of the woman they know as mom. She talks about her siblings, her parents, what it felt like to be the oldest, the youngest, or maybe the middle child. She remembers the games she used to play, the books she loved to read, and the adventures she had with her friends. It's in these details that we see the roots of her character. The fierce independence or gentle kindness didn't appear overnight. It started in these early years. School days and dreams, as the book moves into the school years, a new side of her begins to unfold. She reflects on her favorite subjects, the teachers who inspired her, and the dreams she held in her heart. Maybe she wanted to be a dancer, a doctor, or an astronaut. Maybe she never quite knew, but she remembers how she felt walking through those school halls. There's a certain nostalgia in this section that makes you want to close your eyes and picture your mother as a teenager, nervous about tests, excited about dances. Maybe she had a crush she never told anyone about. Maybe she made a decision back then that would shape the rest of her life. Here, the woman you know becomes a girl again, vulnerable, hopeful, full of questions. Work, travel, and first life begins to speed up in the next section. Korie Herold guides the storyteller into young adulthood. First jobs, first apartments, first time traveling alone. It's a phase of exploration and independence. She talks about the lessons learned in the workplace, the thrill of earning her first paycheck, and the way it felt to manage responsibilities on her own. Travel becomes a metaphor for growth. Maybe she took a trip that changed the way she saw the world. Maybe she moved cities, or even countries. These experiences shape the lens through which she views life. And as you read or listen, you start to realize how little you might actually know about the version of your mom that existed before you were born. This section also includes failures and setbacks, a job that didn't work out, a dream that didn't go as planned. But in sharing these, she's not just recording history, she's teaching resilience. She's showing how even the most graceful women have scars, and it's those scars that often make them strong. Love and marriage. Then comes love. The story slows down to let these moments breathe. How did she meet her partner? What was her first impression? What made her believe this was the person she could build a life with? Maybe she fell in love at first sight. Maybe it was a slow burn. But this section pulses with emotion. We hear about wedding days, not just the color of the dress or the song for the first dance, but the emotions, the nerves, the laughter, the little mishaps that make it unforgettable. This is where we see her heart on full display, her vulnerability, her trust, her courage to begin forever with someone else. And she doesn't shy away from honesty. She might share the tough moments in a marriage, the arguments, the compromises, the growth. Love isn't painted as a fairy tale. It's shown as a decision, a commitment that is chosen day after day. Becoming a mother. No section hits harder than the one where she talks about becoming a mother. Here, her voice changes. There's wonder, awe, and a kind of softness that's hard to describe. She remembers the first time she held her baby, the fears, the overwhelming love, the nights she didn't sleep but still smiled because she was looking at a miracle. She reflects on what it meant to be responsible for a life, the pressure, the joy, the pain, the pride. Every milestone her child reached was a milestone for her too. The first steps, the first words, the first heartbreak. She felt them all as deeply as if they were her own. There are also confessions. The things she wishes she had done differently. The moments of self-doubt. But in every line, there's love. Deep, unconditional love that pours out of her like sunlight. You start to understand that being a mom isn't just a role, it's a transformation. Passing down values Korie. Herold doesn't just want mothers to share what happened, she wants them to share what they believe in. This section is about legacy, the core values that shaped her and that she hopes to pass on. She talks about faith, forgiveness, kindness, hard work. She tells you what really matters in life. It's not just what she did that defines her, it's how she did it. With grace, with grit, with quiet strength. And in sharing these lessons, she gives her family a moral compass that will guide them long after she's gone. This section feels like sitting at the foot of your mother's chair while she gives you the kind of advice that only comes from living. Through it all. It's gentle, wise, real. Curiosities and reflections. Then comes a beautiful twist. Herold includes prompts that ask mothers to answer hypotheticals. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you go? If you could relive one day, which would it be? What would you do differently in life if you had the chance? These questions don't just offer answers. They spark conversations. They show that even though a mother is often the anchor of the family, she is also a dreamer, a woman who still carries hope and imagination inside her. She might share a regret here, or a wish she never spoke aloud. And in doing so, she reminds us that no one is ever just one thing. Even mothers have layers. Desires, secrets, wonder, letters for the future. As the book nears its close, it becomes deeply emotional. Korie Herold encourages mothers to write letters to their children and grandchildren. These are not just pages filled with ink. They're emotional time capsules, meant to be opened when her voice can't be heard anymore, meant to be cherished for decades to come. A letter to a daughter, a letter to a son, a letter to a future grandchild who hasn't even been born yet. Each one brims with wisdom, love, and a sense of eternity. In these letters, you hear the voice of a woman who has lived, loved, and now wants to give the most precious gift of all. Her story. A keepsake that lives. Forever Mom's story is not a novel. It's not a memoir written by a celebrity or historian. It's something far more powerful. It's a bridge between generations. A way for mothers to be remembered not just for what they did, but for who they were, their humor, their strength, their quiet thoughts, their loud love. Korie Herold has created more than a book. She's created a ritual, a meaningful practice of self-reflection and legacy sharing. With its linen-bound cover, elegant gold foil, and archival quality paper, it's designed to be passed down. to be read at family reunions, holidays, and rainy afternoons when someone misses